And welcome back to another edition of Completely Unoriginal. Adam St. Paul, Kurt Campbell, and Tony Zur all
Howdy.
with you here. And we have a whole potpourri of topics to discuss today. Nothing groundbreaking or anything like that, but before we get to all of them, how are you guys doing?
Tony's first.
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good, man.
How did your stand-up go at Slackers on Tuesday?
Well, didn't you watch it? Come on,
No,
man. You gotta watch.
I couldn't make it. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you can go on Tube Review. I post them all on Tube Review, man.
Okay.
So you go on Tube Review on YouTube, and you can check out Tony Tube's doing stand-up, and I think I did pretty well. So I made some people laugh, and that's all that counts.
That's what matters.
It's it takes a lot of guts to get up there and simply try to tell jokes. There's nothing harder than for someone to say, "Make me laugh, clown," and then okay, go try.
Well, the first time I did it, it was kind of some newer stuff that I was diddling around with, and so it didn't play off as well as this last time. I did some stuff that I've been talking about for a long time, and so it played off a lot better, and I think I had a little bit better of a flow this time. So.
Cool. And before we move on, I remember Louis C.K. once upon a time said he worked for probably 3 years to get a solid 45 minutes. And he kept that routine for dang near the rest of his career until he realized that George Carlin, every time he went out, he had something new. George Carlin never said the same. That's not true, but George Carlin always had a different rant, always had a different joke, always had different things to talk about, and that was pretty inspiring because it's not easy, thinking up that kind of stuff, is it?
Right. It's not, and it goes to show, the guys that do it alongside of me up there, Spencer and Boone. Those guys work hard, and so do I, and everybody's got a process, man. So.
So, Kurt, you were not here last week. Tony
No.
and I did touch on MST3K, but that was the one thing that you didn't get to touch on. So, what did you want to mention?
No, did you talk about the whole campaign and everything?
Well, we went over it. Go ahead.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
I just checked it out today. First of all, for those of you who love Mystery Science Theater 3000. One of the most exciting things that's happened over the past 8 or 9 days is that Joel Hodgson, the creator and original star of the show, is bringing it back through crowdfunding to start with. Now, they've hit their first goal of $2 million to make 3 new episodes. But the real goal is to get a full $5.5 million to make a dozen episodes and get the attention of networks and network executives to bring it back to cable or a streaming service. That's the plan. Now they're at like 2.3 million right now. Over 21,000 people have already donated, myself included. I'm a backer because there's no way I'm going to miss out on an opportunity to do that and bring back one of the best shows that's ever been on television. So I want to encourage anyone who is a fan of the show and maybe didn't hear about this or has never seen the show to check it out. They are doing another Turkey Day marathon for Thanksgiving, and that seems to be doing well for them. The first year they did it 2 years ago, it was like 50,000 viewers, doubled to 100,000 last year. So they're doing it again this year, hoping to continue to exponentially raise the numbers and, again, bring attention to bringing the show back. So,
what channel is that on?
it's on the net. You have to stream it on the net.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm totally going to check that out.
Yeah, check out the Kickstarter page. They're going to be making announcements about it. And I'm sure if you look up MST Turkey Day, you'll find the info you need, where you need to point your browsers or what streaming service it's going to be on. And last year, I think it was 5 or 6 movies in a row they played throughout from the morning through the evening. And they're doing it again this year, so it's going to be fun. Check it out.
Kurt, I don't know if you saw this or not, Kurt, but the day that the news dropped that Joel wanted to bring it back, I released a video saying, I want to be the host, dang it.
I saw it, and you know what? I think you're great, but the guy he picked to be the host, I'm also a huge fan of, so please don't be offended when I say I'd feel bad for you, because I'd love to be the host of the show, but Jonah Ray from The Nerdist, a stand-up comic, and lots of other stuff is going to be the new host. They haven't announced who the new mad scientist is. They're saving that for later in the Kickstarter campaign. They haven't announced who the voices of Tom Servo and Crow T. Robot are going to be yet. But we're getting new episodes, and that is so exciting and so rare that I feel like I want to tell everybody I know all about it every chance I get.
Is it okay that I like Mike Nelson better than Joel?
You don't have to like anyone. you like whoever you like.
Okay, good.
You know,
Because I always like Mike Nelson better than
See,
Joel,
I
so.
started the show with Joel, and I was a fan of Joel's before the show ever came on because I liked his stand-up. I'd seen him do it on Saturday Night Live. And if you've never seen that, by the way, I recommend YouTubing that, too. His original stand-up from Saturday Night Live. Funny, prop-related stuff, but very low-key like his character. But, you know, Joel himself says it's time for a new host. You know, he did 100 episodes. Mike did almost 100 episodes. And it's, you know, it's just the same show, it just presented by different people. There's no reason to. That's the one thing that really made me angry is when people, oh, I don't like it anymore because X isn't on there anymore. It's still the same show. They're still doing the same thing, and it's still funny.
Yeah, it's the concept that's there, and that's, I mean, and like you said, I am not like butthurt at all because of the fact that, you know, that they already picked somebody and I didn't even have a fucking, you know, shot in hell, but. You know, I'm just, like you said, man, I'm just excited that there's even, like, the possibility was even there, and now we will be getting at least something.
At least 3.
Yeah, and so hopefully we can pull that $5.5 million out of somebody. You know, it'd be cool if, like, you know, all of a sudden just, like, Johnny Depp came out of the woodwork and was like, I love that show. It's so retro. Got scarves and stuff, so I'm going to just go ahead and donate the rest.
Well, at the rate they're going, if they continue to raise funds at the rate they're going right now, I think they'll hit their goal of the 5.5 mil. They just can't slow down. They got to get the word out. So go to Kickstarter if you're a fan and haven't seen it. Make a contribution. Help the show come back because we not only want a dozen episodes, we want 112 more episodes. So
yeah, and if you just go to mst3k.com, it goes straight to the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, so check it out, please.
What else did you want to touch on there?
Me?
Kurt? Yep.
Just one little observation I think we should all kind of hang our heads in shame about. It was 35 years ago, I believe yesterday, that the Star Wars Holiday Special aired on CBS television.
That's wonderful.
I think we should all just remember that happened, feel sadness, and move on.
I don't think we should feel sadness, though. I think George Lucas should feel sadness.
Well, he should
because
feel shame.
He has said on record, in fact, if you ever buy a bootleg copy of the film, or of the special,
Yeah.
it says in a quote on the back, if I had time and a hammer, I would personally track down every copy and smash it. So George Lucas realizes what he done did,
Yeah.
I think, when it comes
There's
to that
shame, and I think we all need to just remember that kind of thing happened. So that's all I wanted to bring for this week for me.
Anything to add to that one there, Tony?
I'm just, I don't know. Adam, I tagged you in a couple posts and stuff, and I think that the idea of a new Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, considering the kinds of movies he's been picking lately, like Maggie. I actually watched Maggie, and I thought Maggie was a very wonderful film. I think the critics really bombed that, and I just honestly think that people didn't go out for it because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, trying to do something he's never done before. And honestly, I saw that in Escape Plan and that was an awful movie.
Yes.
But there was that scene in there where they both go in the hole or in the box, and he has to create a distraction. And he starts speaking his native tongue, and he starts like praying to God and freaking out in that box. And I was watching that movie going, that is the greatest piece of acting I've ever seen Arnold Schwarzenegger do. By far, that was the greatest piece of acting I've ever seen that man do. And then he brought out Maggie, and now he's doing another movie that has like Oscar winner ties and shit. So Arnold's, to see maybe a new Predator movie with Arnold would be really fantastic.
But isn't he doing exactly what you wouldn't want him to do? You're saying that he's taking on more serious roles like he did in Maggie, and you know that's not a bad movie. I have seen it. I would have liked it better had a different person. I don't understand why Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, cards on the table with the accent, and you know the fact that he's from Austria. Him playing like a small town sheriff or a Midwest farmer, like it just doesn't do it for me because it's like, how did you end up there? I get, you shouldn't have to explain it, but for me, I can't buy it, and he's not a great actor. But you're saying that he's doing a better job acting. Now you want him to go back and do Predator again?
Well, okay. First of all, if there's one thing that we've had to figure out about Arnold Schwarzenegger in the past 30-some-odd years of his career is that you have to suspend disbelief with his shitty accent in every movie that he's in. Why would they give a robot a shitty accent? Why? You have to suspend disbelief with Arnold in some things. And so, and especially, I don't want to bring up like the whole like refugee thing or anything like that, but we have constant immigrants coming into this country. And so when you see him as a small town sheriff, or you see him as, a farmer and everything like that, I was driving outside of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and there's seriously fields full of Asian people with the little Raiden hats on out there picking stuff in the field because that just happens to be a population for that around there. So that stuff doesn't ever bother me. But to see Arnold Schwarzenegger, considering he's trying to do better films now, if he's said yes to this Predator movie, maybe it'll be a good thing. But maybe it'll be another Terminator Genesis.
Kurt,
who knows?
What's your opinion? What's your opinion on another Terminator movie? They tried the gritty reboot with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne, and that was a rated R Predator movie.
Yeah,
just like in the '80s. They went away from the Terminator or Alien versus Predator model. Went back to the grit and back to the swearing and the violence, and it didn't really work. I think we have the originals. Let's call it good there, personally.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I can't. It's kind of like trying to catch lightning in a bottle to bring back the flavor of the original Predator film. It'd be fun to see if they got talent behind it. If you got I don't know, an action film / sci-fi film director behind it, and you got someone who knows and loves the franchise and has talent as a screenwriter involved, I'd give it a shot, but I don't know. And I certainly don't want another Terminator movie. I'm done. I'm done with Terminators.
Okay.
Done.
No offense, but Adrian Brody, Topher Grace, as I said, Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Trejo, that's not talent behind.
Well, no, the performance-wise, that's good. The performers that they got were gung-ho and ready to get in there and do it, but it just didn't work 100%. Now, granted, I've heard it's not terrible, to be honest with you. I heard it's actually pretty entertaining, but I have not seen the reboot.
If you ask me, out of all the shitty reboots, Total Recall and Terminator Genesuck and all this other stuff, honestly, Predators, dude, I'm sorry, Adam, you saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kurt, cover your ears for a second.
Well, I don't care. You can spoil it. I don't care.
Okay, I'm sorry, but when Adrian Brody comes up with that knife and puts it through Eric Foreman's face, that was amazing. Adrian Brody did a great job in that. They all did a great job. I mean, who did they have backing in the first one? Jesse the Body Ventura. Okay, You got him, and you got Sonny Landham, who barely says a damn word in the movie, and then you got Carl Weathers, who's not a great actor.
No, he's Apollo Creed. That's why he's in the film.
Right. So I'm just saying that but I don't know if you guys know this, but Shane Black, who was in the original Predator movie and who wrote all the Lethal Weapon movies, or the first two Lethal Weapon movies and everything, Shane Black himself is going to be writing and directing this movie.
Okay, I'm down.
That does say something for me, but
Yep.
I'm not, and I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, and I can see why, I guess. I didn't hate 2010 Predator. I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fine, but it didn't do great at the box office. It did not generate enough interest from sequel-happy Hollywood, which shows to me that, for the most part, I think the fans are done with Predator. There's, no offense, there's only so many stories that can be told when it comes to an alien monster that hunts humans. It's gonna follow the same pretty much formula. You're gonna have the same BA characters that you had before. They're gonna fight the Predator, and either the Predator's gonna get him or they're gonna blow him up. I mean, it's just to me, it's not that interesting. But
well, I mean, we're not talking about something that's universally known like Star Wars. I mean, there's only a specific amount of people in this world that actually care about even the first Predator movie. They look at themselves as film aficionados and stuff like that, but the original Terminator, the original Predator movie, that's not Lawrence of Arabia and stuff like that. Those movies are for a specific brand of people, and I think that fan base is still there. I could give a shit less about what box offices do these days. I really could, because there've been so many movies like let's just say The Big Lebowski that bombed. at the box office, and those things came on to be really, really wonderful films. The reason why Predator worked was because of the fact that nobody else ever did it. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't, constant movies being put out all the time, just crap shit. You look at Netflix, and it's just full of those shitty movies. That I'm sitting there going, I have a movie in my pocket that would blow Sharknado 4 out of the water, And so it's all just the whole media thing right now, man. And everybody is connected. And everybody's got their opinions. Predator came out. It's the only time. That was the first time anybody ever did that, man.
This can actually be a kind of a good segue into what I wanted to talk about, and that is the fact that when you talk about returning to a franchise after years of not doing anything with it, the Zoolander trailer, Zoolander 2,
I watched it,
dropped, and it has kind of set the internet abuzz, and and basically, I don't trust this thing as far as I can throw it. And also another one too, Dodgeball 2 has been announced as well, which I enjoyed the first one just fine. I don't think there's any need for a sequel. But we have seen this, especially when it comes to comedies, just dozens of times where you return to material either because you want to make the money or you maybe genuinely want to make the film. Even when that happens, that's not the case. I mean, it doesn't usually work. Dumb and Dumber 2 most recently, just let me finish and you can hop in. Dumb and Dumber 2 most recently, of course, was panned and no good. You look at films like Anchorman 2 where people took took pay cuts to be in that movie. Will Ferrell and the like, all those big stars, they wanted to do that movie, so they took pay cuts for it, and it was very meh. It was just very okay, nothing great, and it didn't do very well at the box office. Other ones to think of, like American Wedding, then American Reunion, which I did not care for at all. And, like I said, Dodgeball, then this Dodgeball 2, Zoolander 2. I just don't want... I mean, why is it that it doesn't seem to work for these comedies coming back, revisiting the material?
Well, it depends. It depends on what you're bringing back. Now, I like the concept because I was skeptical as well until I saw the trailer. I like the idea of now Derek Zoolander is a joke because he's basically he's ancient in modeling terms, and he's a joke, and yet he gets involved in intrigue because apparently famous people are dying with his famous blue steel look on their face, which I think is great. Will Ferrell bringing that character back is so funny just in the trailer alone. I think it could work in this instance because it's been so long. Now, you look at Anchorman and Anchorman 2, and I love the original Anchorman.
Yeah, the original
love the original. The second one, I still liked it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't as good, but it also was only a couple of years apart. To be fair, it was what, 5 years, 6 years after the original?
It might have been more than that.
Maybe more than that, but Zoolander is what, mid-90s? Oh. It's been almost 20 years.
I'm sorry, I have to pop in here and say one of the greatest comedic scenes I have seen in the past decade was we're going to smoke crack on live television on Anchorman 2. I lost my shit during that. So I have to call BS on that, dude, because I thought that Anchorman 2 was just as on par as Anchorman 1 in my eyes.
Came out almost 10 years.
Okay, almost 10 years.
2004,
well, that was a long time,
2004, and 2013.
Okay, all right, 9 years. It just depends on the material and the people involved. That makes a huge difference.
But my point, though... Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I was going to say, it's not like it hasn't worked before. I mean, I don't know what your guys' stance on Ghostbusters 2 was, but once again, one of the funniest lines in any comedy I've ever heard was, "We had part of a slinky, but we straightened it." but I straightened it. You have Addams Family Values, which was better than Addams Family. All the Harold and Kumar movies they just keep one-upping themselves every time with those Harold and Kumar movies. And honestly, one of the greatest, it's not even a sequel, it's a threequel. One of the greatest comedic sequels of all time is a staple of American culture, Christmas Vacation.
It's, so, I mean,
yeah.
You mean you're saying the sequel being Vegas Vacation, or
no? There's a European Vacation in between. There's National Lampoon's Vacation, then European Vacation, then Christmas Vacation.
I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying it seems to me, even when you have talented people behind it, and I guess maybe we can't fully discuss this because we see differently when it comes to Anchorman 2. But, you know, you had Judd Apatow behind that. You had Will Ferrell. You had Steve Carell. You had Paul Rudd. All sorts of great, you know, actors and all sorts of great, you know, comedy minds behind it. And it ends up kind of being a clearly ad-libbed, a clearly unscripted farce where they basically just said, go ahead into the scene, rip on each other, because that's what Judd Apatow likes, the improv. He doesn't deny that, and that's what I got. It was just a bunch of improv, like as if I went to Chicago and I saw First Street.
I'm fine with that. You know, totally fine with that.
I am too. I think all those guys are. That's when they're in their element the best, is when they can go in there and just be themselves and just bring up stuff off the top of their head. That's the best for comedians, man.
What I will say that worked really well, if you're interested in seeing a film that I think came out in the early 2000s and they never did anything with it until 2015, check out the Wet Hot American Summer TV series on Netflix.
It's in my queue.
It's better than the movie.
It arguably is. All I know, Tony, is that they so amazingly captured the essence that was the film, and they just basically spread it out over 13 episodes or however many there were. It was amazing.
Yeah, I thought you know, Wet Hot American Summer, I mean, it was kind of one of those cult things that I got it, but I didn't get it all the way. Some of the stuff I was just kind of like, yeah, that was really bland, and I can see where you were trying to go with that. But I popped on the first episode of the series, man, and I blew through those things pretty quick, and I thought the series was much better done than the movie.
By the way, I also have to add, if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet on Netflix, With Bob and David, there are only 4 episodes, but it's essentially a continuation of Mr. Show almost 20 years later. With all the original cast, the original writers all working together again. David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, two of the funniest people on the planet when it comes to writing sketch comedy. I recommend checking it out, With Bob and David. It's only 4 episodes and a behind-the-scenes making of episode. But if you like sketch comedy, you could do a whole lot worse. Really funny stuff.
I tell you what, I was over at a buddy of mine's house, and he had on the first episode of that. Oh, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's a Netflix series, and it's basically set in the future where there's no guns and everybody's just got swords.
Oh, it's the AMC series. It's Into the Badlands.
Into the Badlands.
Yeah, it's a good
AMC,
show.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good show.
God, I watched the first episode of that, and geez, that was some hardcore stuff for AMC there. That was really, really good. I was really impressed.
Just really quick, because we are up against the clock, I'm at denofthegeek.com, and I have, looks like, how many sequels here? 157 movie sequels currently in the works. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just a couple of them for you. 23 Jump Street.
Those have been successful and apparently very funny and gotten better.
American Pie 5, since we were talking about that.
Oh, that's a shame.
Bad Boys 3 and 4 are on the way.
Gross.
Bad Santa 2 is coming up
I'm okay with that.
Beetlejuice 2 is coming up.
Ready for that.
Let's see here. Oh, Bill and Ted 3 is apparently.
I think they're going to take I think they're going to take the approach of Bill and Ted's Kids. I think Keanu and Alex Winter are going to be like the dads, perhaps. And I think that's the best way for that concept to work.
We'll see.
I want to see Wayne's World 3.
I'd be okay with that.
I want to see, because they brought it back on SNL last year, just like a couple little sketches and stuff, and the comedy kind of being updated to the times and everything. God, I love Wayne's World, and I can totally get down on it.
Mike Myers can't seem to get work in Hollywood anymore after The Love Guru, and apparently
that's not really fair either.
It's strange. He's allegedly notoriously difficult to work with, and
he's a perfectionist.
Well, you can read several articles. I mean, that's a known fact, and I will challenge. I mean, you can find other sources that say not, but anyway, that's besides the point. Guys, it's been a ton of fun as always. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it was wonderful. Thanks for talking.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Completely Unoriginal. For Kurt Campbell and Tony Tube Zur, I'm Adam St. Paul. Until the next time.